A student at Klein Oak High School outside Houston who chose to withhold her name spoke to reporters last Wednesday about her protest of the Pledge of Allegiance and the school's response. KPRCTV Long before President Trump escalated the debate over protests during the national anthem, two Texas teenagers began challenging injustice in their own way, by sitting through the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, they are separately suing their schools, saying that teachers and administrators shamed or punished them for their protests, violating their constitutional rights. The students, both in the Houston area, said they had received especially harsh treatment in recent months. One school district denied the claims, and the other said it would not comment on any potential litigation. "It just seems that there is something in the air," said Randall Carlinen, a civil rights lawyer in Houston who is representing the students, who are both 17. The president may have played a role. Last month, Mr. Trump ignited a heated national debate over the decision by some NFL players to kneel during the national anthem protest against racial injustice. Like those athletes, the Texas students, India Landry and another teenager, identified only by her initials, MO, said their protest stemmed from a sense that the nation had failed to uphold the promise of the pledge. "We live in a country where there isn't justice and freedom for all, and so I'm not going to stand for a pledge that says there is," the student whose name was withheld said at a news conference last Wednesday. That teenager, a senior at Klein Oak High School outside of Houston, began her protest when she started high school in 2014, according to a lawsuit filed in federal court last week against 9 school and district officials and the district itself. Over the years, teachers and students criticized her for refusing to stand, and administrators ignored or defended the harassment, according to the teenager and her mother, Lashana Sano. At one point, a guidance counselor suggested that the student switch out of a journalism class whose teacher had insisted she stand, according to the lawsuit. This year, a teacher told the teenagers' class that those who sat through the pledge were comparable to Soviet communists, pedophiles and Islamist extremists, the lawsuit said. Classmates harass the teenager and in person, including as recently as last week, Mr. Carlinen said. Because of the harassment, Ms. Arsenault decided in the spring to homeschool her daughter before allowing her to return to school in August, according to the suit. The teenager, who said on Wednesday that she had a 3.9 GPA, continued to participate in debate competitions while being homeschooled, but at an expense of more than $10,000 to the family, according to the suit. In a statement, the Klein Independent School District disputed the accusations. Klein ISD denies the allegations and, after investigation and discussion with those involved over a 3-year span, finds multiple discrepancies in the allegations, the statement said. The district added that it respected the rights of its students and does not tolerate harassment against them. Ms. Arsenault said her daughter made the decision to protest the pledge on her own, but added that she understood the reasoning. "Obviously in this country I can see there's not liberty and justice for all," Ms. Arsenault said at the news conference. "I'm still an African American woman in this country, and I can see the news and things that go on around me." The lawsuit is funded by American Atheists, a non-profit that fights for the separation of church and state and has helped students with similar disputes. It joined the effort after Ms. Arsenault and her daughter reached out, a spokesman said. "Neither the teenager nor her mother is an atheist," Mr. Carlinen said. The Supreme Court weighed in on the issue decades ago, ruling in a 1943 case, West Virginia State Board of Education v. Barnett, that requiring students in public schools to salute the flag or recite the Pledge of Allegiance amounts to a violation of their First Amendment rights. This month, Mr. Carlinen filed a similar lawsuit on behalf of another mother and her daughter, Kizzy and India Landry. That suit was filed in federal court against the Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District and Martha Strother, the principal at Winfern High School in Houston, which India attends. India's protest against injustice began about a year and a half ago and was tolerated by at least half a dozen teachers until this month, according to the lawsuit. On the morning of October 2, India was with Ms. Strother and a school secretary in the principal's office, according to the lawsuit. When the pledge was recited over the school speakers, both women stood. Ms. Strother asked India to join them and expelled her when she refused, the lawsuit said. She asked me to, and I said I would nt, India told KHOU, a local television news station. And she said, well, you're kicked out of here. India was sent to an assistant principal who instructed her to call her mother for a ride home, warning that Ms. Landry had 5 minutes to arrive or India would be escorted away by the police, according to the lawsuit. This is not the NFL, the secretary reportedly said. When Ms. Landry arrived, she was told that Ms. Strother would not see her, according to the suit. At a meeting several days later, Ms. Strother said India could not return to school until she agreed to stand for the pledge, the lawsuit said. The KHOU segment aired that afternoon and, the next day, Ms. Strother reversed course. In a statement provided to The Times on Friday, the school district said it had not been served with documentation regarding the lawsuit and would not comment on litigation. India is back in school, the statement said. In both lawsuits, Mr. Carlin said the schools had violated his client's First, Fifth and 14th Amendment rights.